The San Antonio Spurs got big last night. Real big. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. The NBA draft's first round is over, and our San Antonio Spurs addressed one big need. They drafted bigs. I'm going to talk a little about each player, and I'm going to give my draft grades for last night. First up, let's talk about Jayden Quaintance. He was drafted 20th overall, 6'9", 253 pounds, a 7'5" wingspan. And we're going to look at fan-sided synopsis if you want on JQ. Jayden Quaintance was my number one defender in this draft. He's a monster. The length, fluidity, and explosiveness is rare enough, not to mention his sixth sense for sniffing out blocks. Quaintance can guard all over the floor. He can mirror guards or defend and drop. The only reason he isn't the lottery pick is his health. Quaintance has lost 1.5 seasons to injury at this point. The Spurs are banking on the 18-year-old's youth and potential. For a team this deep, that leap of faith and the patience required to take it is totally justifiable. Fansided gave us an A+. Wow, he is a defensive. Watching his highlights, he is a defensive monster that can't shoot. He's not going to be a shooter. He's not going to stretch the floor. He's an abysmal free throw shooter. I'm seeing some pro comps to Robert Williams III. This is obviously a high-risk, high-reward pick. Looking around before the injury, maybe a top 7 pick if healthy. I've seen that by a few old draft boards. He was a top 7 pick, but he tore his ACL, meniscus, and had a bone fracture in February of 2025. Also seeing a lot of reports he's going to have a follow-up procedure that will probably keep him out to 6 months, for at least 6 months. He'll be 19 next month. I would not be shocked if we do not see him play at all next season, whether it's with the San Antonio Spurs or the Austin Spurs. I think this is going to be a rehab season for JQ, and with him being in rehab, do the Spurs have a backup plan? Yes, they do. Enter UConn's Tarris Reed Jr., 6'9" 3/4. Call him 6'10", just round up. 264 pounds, 7'4" wingspan. We're going to stick with fan-sided. The Spurs add more UConn DNA next to Stephon Castle. This is a brilliant trade for the Spurs, who compensate for the immediate uncertainty of Jayden Quaintance by adding a ready-made backup center in Tarris Reed. He's a prolific rebounder, a skilled finisher and short roll passer, and a legitimate rim deterrent. Reed needs to cut down in fouls and better position himself as a drop coverage anchor, but he has the range and the instincts to become a very solid two-way force behind Victor Wembanyama. Give him an A. I watched him at UConn on TV and in person, and the dude is a beast in the paint. I see some pro comps to Day'Ron Sharpe. He rebounds, he screens, he's able to finish in the paint. He's a defender. Had a huge tournament game in March, 31 and 27. You heard that right, 31 points, 27 rebounds. The first time I think that hasn't happened in over 50 years in the NCAA versus Furman. But he's also a non-shooter. He's not going to stretch the floor. And also an FYI, since this was talked about in the live chat last night, he did not play with Stephon Castle. Steph played the year before that Tarris Reed Jr. came over from Michigan. All right. Those are the players. Time for my thoughts. I think with this draft, it's clearly obvious Kelly Olynyk and Mason Plumlee are not coming back. Thank you for your service. Once a Spur, always a Spur. The Spurs did address with this draft a major need with size. Our big rotation next year will be Victor Wembanyama, Luke Kornet, and I do think Tarris Reed Jr. is going to get some time with us on the floor. He will be a 23-year-old rookie, 4 years in college, so he's going to be a little bit more NBA ready than, let's say, Stephon Castle was. Steph only had 1 year in college. Tarris Reed, 4 years. So I think he's going to be ready to go pretty much day one. Yes, there's going to be some things that the Spurs need to work on with him, but he could see some playing time right away. A la Carter Bryant last year. I could see him getting 6 to 8 minutes a game, depending on the situation. As far as the grades, this is really tough because JQ is, as we mentioned before, high risk because of the injuries, but also high reward. I'm going to go cautious with my grading with JQ. I was a little stunned last night when we took him. I'm going to give it a B. The knee problems, of course, are concerned with any player, but knee problems with players that are 250 pounds plus, that is a huge concern. That being said, the Spurs have a great medical staff, and hopefully when we look back on this, JQ ends up being the steal of the draft. This was a top 10 guy that fell to 20 because of the injury. Now, some might ask as well, TSR, how far do you think he would have dropped? I don't know. I don't know how long the Spurs could have waited to pick him. Could we have moved back to 22, 24, 25? No idea. If he works out, oh my gosh, we'll talk about it in just a moment. Let's talk about Tarris Reed Jr. I'm a little biased here. Just a little biased, but I agree with FanSided. I'm going to give him an A, or the pick an A. I like the pick. I like the pick for Denver when I was live last night. Obviously, then I love it even more for us. So overall, how am I grading this draft? I've given out a B and an A. I'm actually going to round up to an A-. I don't love taking a risk, but where we're at and having a backup for that risk, I think that's a good strategy overall, and it could have a huge payoff. So I'm going to give Brian Wright and the Spurs an A-. I like the draft. I do. In 2 years, if everything works out, and this is always an if, we could have a starting lineup of Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Carter Bryant, Jayden Quaintance, and Victor Wembanyama. If you haven't seen JQ's highlights, watch them. The shot blocking was incredible. This could be an elite defense, and dare I say, one of the greatest defenses in the last decade, 2 decades, maybe more, I don't know. But if everybody develops the way we think they can, you got reigning Defensive Player of the Year candidate and winner Victor Wembanyama. JQ looks like an absolute stud on defense. Carter Bryant, we know, is a great defender and showing to be a capable shot blocker at 6'7"-ish. Stephon Castle shown to be a great defender. Dylan Harper, better than advertised in year 1. My goodness, we could have an absolute elite defensive monster in a couple of years. Now, after that, we need to address shooting. Where do we address shooting? Could it be in the second round? We still have picks 42 and 44. Trade, free agency, I don't know. I like the fact we addressed one major need through the draft, and that's something I wanted the Spurs to do. I was like, draft 2 bigs. Actually, if you look at the mock drafts, I actually had us drafting 3 bigs, I think, in a mock draft. I don't remember who I grabbed. I think I grabbed Tarris Reed Jr., Moritz Johnson Jr., who went much higher than I thought I was going to at 9 to the Mavericks. And then there was one other big. I can't remember with my mock drafts, but we got 2 bigs. And overall, I like it. I just don't expect to see Jayden Quaintance on the floor at all this season. I think he's going to sit out a year similar to Joel Embiid or some other players that have taken the first year off, and then hopefully he's good to go next year. A lot of fingers crossed there. All right, that's my bread and bologna. Spurs, drop your butter. What? I don't know. What do you think about last night's draft? How would you grade the drafting of Jayden Quaintance? Are you concerned with the injury? Do you think it was a reach? Do you think it could be the steal of the draft? Let me know your grades on him. As far as Tarris Reed Jr., your thoughts on him getting picked at 26 by the Spurs. I don't know if I said it earlier, but we traded the 35th pick and 2 future seconds, which we have 1 million future seconds to get Tarris Reed Jr. Your thoughts on his pick? Is there any player here that you've watched substantially and you've been following their whole career and you're like, you know what, TSR, this is why they're going to be a great for us, or this is why they're not going to be great for us? Hit the thumbs up if you enjoy the video and help support the channel. As far as being live tonight for the second round, I'm on the fence. I hurt my back yesterday lifting weights, and I don't know if I can sit on my couch again for 2.5 to 3 hours. We'll see. I'm going to play it by ear over the next 2 hours, see if I can loosen it up, but it's been bothering me quite a bit. So we'll see there. That's all I got. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs, go.